If you've been dreaming of building a business to give you more time, location, and financial freedom, let's talk about 4 shifts that you can make to go from scrambling to make your first dollar towards building a business that pays you $5, $10, $15,000 or more every single month. My name is Lili, and I've been documenting my financial freedom journey and bringing you guys along with me on this channel. And as someone who now has a 6-figure online business, these are the things that I wish I knew when I got started in order to get here a lot faster and with a lot fewer mistakes. The first shift is that we have to treat entrepreneurship as a team sport. I was super fortunate in that I played basketball my entire life, and I got the chance to go to Stanford University and then to the University of Notre Dame. But unfortunately, my basketball career ended on New Year's Eve on national television when I blew out my right knee. And I was suddenly thrust into this world where I didn't have my teammates around me like I had been used to my entire life. And I started entrepreneurship as if I was a solo athlete, when in reality, I would have gone a lot further, a lot faster if I had realized that I needed a few key team members from the very beginning. And I know this can be a scary thing to do because if you're not sure that your business idea is actually going to succeed, then it can feel like a heavy lift to hire someone and train them up on what you need them to do when you're not even sure of that answer for yourself yet. But there's another way to look at it that maybe you haven't considered. The first just comes down to time. There are probably things that you could be doing to move forward on your financial freedom journey that you're not, simply because you don't have the time. Whether it's because you're working your normal job that is supporting your bills, you're spending time with family, you are maybe even serving 1 or 2 clients on the side, there's likely some things you could be doing like outreach, documenting processes, taking courses or joining mentorship programs to increase the value of your product or service. Those are things that with more time, you could do to move forward faster. And so one of the first things that I like to hire for is someone who can take those simple, repeatable tasks off of your plate, even if just for a couple hours a week. The second way you can build this early version of your entrepreneurial team is one that I really like, because it's not even about spending money. It's about investing money that you are getting from your client. It's the idea of what could make your product or service more valuable to your end client, even if it's something that you personally can't provide. Just a couple days ago at my 5-day self-funded freedom challenge, I had someone step into the hot seat, tell me about her business and where she's at, and have me help her kind of devise a plan to take it to the next level. And she happens to be a doula who helps women through their pregnancy and having a successful birth and first couple of weeks with baby. I think it's a really cool business. And we're talking about 2 ways that she could treat this business more as a team sport, because right now she's doing everything. So the first is that she could get some of the simple, repeatable tasks off of her plate that would free her up to spend more time doing the things that only she could do. So for example, she goes in the first few days after baby is born, and she's specifically trained to do some things with the baby and with the mom. But she also does things like laundry for baby and mom. She does dishes, she helps clean up. And it's those things that sometimes limit her with the amount of clients that she can take on at one time. And so if she can reinvest some of the money that she's getting into hiring someone to come do those simple, repeatable tasks that you don't have to be licensed for to clean and do laundry, then she can actually take on more clients and therefore make more money. The second role on the team that we can consider hiring for is a additional service that would provide value to that client, but maybe that you don't have the skill for yourself. And after some brainstorming in the hot seat, she told me how new moms usually have very sore muscles and can feel really stiff or just uncomfortable in their bodies after giving birth. And so she could actually bring on a professional massage therapist to offer that in addition to her doula services. So it's something that's going to increase the amount that she's going to be able to charge per client, pay herself more, and also have a service that brings value to her customers that it doesn't take her time to deliver. By the way, the 5-day self-funded freedom challenge is a 1-week live Zoom challenge where I work with you on Zoom to build your business. If it sounds like something that would be helpful on your path to financial freedom, there's a link in the top comments so you can check it out. And this brings me to the second pillar, which is that you have to price your services to be able to deliver spectacular results, not price your services to survive or just try to get someone to say yes. If we have a lack of confidence in what we're doing for someone and the value of it, we're going to price it so low that we can't afford to have anyone else help us in that business. And the problem is, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because now that everything is on us, it makes it that much harder to deliver a spectacular result, which is going to make us less confident about our offer and therefore keep our prices low. But if instead we price to deliver spectacular results, then like, for example, this doula can have the money within in her price structure, not just to pay herself more, but to also build out the services and things that her business can do to really deliver a spectacular result. Because at the end of the day, when someone decides if they're going to buy anything, yes, price is a factor, but typically only up to the level of, can I afford it? If the person doesn't have the money in their bank account, then so be it. That's the only thing that they're considering. But if they actually do have the money, which most people who are going to be engaging with you in a conversation about working with you are going to be in a position to pay something for it, if they're above that very minimum threshold of, do I have it? Then they start to consider other things. Number one of which is this going to give me the result that I'm looking for? And so if for those people, the only thing you have to offer them is low price, it's not really going to be that intriguing. If I walk into the gas station and they're trying to get rid of the last couple packs of day-old sushi, and I walk in there and I have enough money to buy anything else, I'm not going to care if they slap a discount sticker on that day-old sushi. I'm considering stuff other than price. Namely, is this going to give me the result I'm looking for after I eat it? If the answer is no, I'm not going for it. So the way you price your services allows you to deliver on the other things that your clients care about, besides just the cheapest price. So how do we pick that price? I use a philosophy from a book called Profit First, and I use a system that's automatically set up using Relay Business Banking, which are the kind sponsors of this video. And so whenever we make any money in our business, we want to give every dollar a job. And by doing that, we'll be able to work backwards and know what we should price our services at. So the first job that your money has is to pay you. A part of all you make is yours to keep. It's a lesson from a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, which is one of my favorite books about how to make and keep your wealth. And that's why a portion of whatever you make needs to first go into your profit account. And each of these 5 accounts are free accounts that I have set up on Relay that automatically make these transfers for me. So if you want to open your accounts and set this system up, just hit the link in the top comment. You can open these free accounts, deposit your first $100, and then head over to my school community and send me a DM, and you get free access to my course on how to automate and set everything up correctly. The second account that's really important is your owner's pay account. And what's kind of weird is that the money that goes into both of these accounts is going to flow through to your personal bank account. But the reason we have them separate is because your profit is what you make for owning the business. Your owner's pay is what you make for working in the business. So for example, with our doula, she might take 5% of everything that she makes as profit for owning the business, and then 50% for actually doing the doula work. And that way, one day, if she decides to hire another doula to replace her while she goes on vacation, or she builds out a team of other doulas, she can cut back on her owner's pay because she'll no longer be working in the business. And that's something that she can pay to the doulas that will be, but still be making profit from owning the business. And this is the difference between being self-employed and giving yourself a job where you only make money if you are actually doing the day-to-day work, and being a business owner and owning an asset that makes you money whether you are actively doing the day-to-day work or not. Then we have our OpEx account, and this is for paying for operating expenses. So if she was to hire someone to help clean and do laundry, the money for that would come out of this account. If she has a website domain or a custom email address, that would all get paid out of OpEx. And then finally, you have your tax account to make sure that at the end of the year, you're not scrambling and pulling money back out of your personal account to pay taxes, but instead you've got it set aside and taken care of. This creates absolute peace and clarity about where every dollar is going. And then you can work backwards to know what to charge because you know exactly what it's going to cost you to run the business and how much you need to pay yourself to do the work. Again, there's a link in the top comment. You can open those free accounts, deposit your first $100, and then shoot me a message on school, and I'll help you get everything automated and set up. But if you're still not sure how you even develop a business to the point where you are presenting it confidently to clients and actually making money so that you can pay yourself, the fourth pillar is that you have to develop and document your personal IP. Your intellectual property is your individual way of doing things built on your experience, built on your mistakes, successes, as well as all of the different knowledge that you've put into your brain, jumbled it up around in there, and personal IP is what comes out the other end that is valuable to someone else. And the problem is, most of us underestimate the personal IP that we have. Because it's something that we know and we are good at, we assume that everyone knows it and everyone's good at it. But that's likely not the case. You are an individual who's had a ton of experiences, good, bad. You've taken in so many inputs, and if you can organize those things and put them on paper, they will absolutely be valuable to someone else. And they will also give you more confidence and conviction when you are telling someone about your business and what it is that you do. And if you want to start this process of developing your personal IP, you can start with the 3Ps exercise. I've heard a lot of different entrepreneurs talk about this. I don't know exactly who came up with it, but it's a useful exercise where you think about what are your passions, which I define as something that you would wake up early or go to bed late to work on, your problems that you've solved in your life, and any professions and skills that you've been paid for. Because you know that if an employer was willing to pay for them, then there's someone out there who's a consumer who would be willing to pay you directly if you were able to make that offer to them. This personal IP development and what we talked about today are just a splash in the bucket of what we cover at the 5-day self-funded freedom challenge. So if you made it this far in the video, you're the exact person that I would love to work with for a week on Zoom. You can check out the details in the top comment, and I'll see you next time. And until then, thanks for watching.